What is up guys, this is Amir here and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm so excited because I finally got my hands to my new iPhone X. And now, as I promised before, I want to have the unboxing and full review of this phone. So with no other comments, let's see the unboxing part. iPhone X is one of the most beautiful phones available in the market. The display is almost edge-to-edge with minimal bezels and no home button. Also, back of the phone is made of glass, which is very shiny and beautiful, but at the same time it's fingerprint absorber. And also fragile, so it needs good care. It has a better grip in comparison with iPhone 7, but still slippery and having a case is really necessary. Unlike previous generations of iPhone, the edges are made of shiny brushed stainless steel, which makes a very good harmony with the back of the phone, especially in space gray. The only downside of the design in my mind is this camera bump. But if you use a case, this bump will not be noticeable. When I was reviewing Samsung Galaxy Note 8, I mentioned that I appreciate Note 8 flat camera design, and I wish Apple had the same flat design in iPhone X. If you haven't seen my review about Samsung Galaxy Note 8, I will leave the link in the description of this video, so make sure to watch that one as well. From design point of view, iPhone X is totally different from its older siblings, and people will definitely recognize it in your hand. From the size, the bezels, lack of home button, and also the strange camera orientation. Also, iPhone X is a bit thicker than the other iPhones. The large HDR 5.8-inch OLED display of this phone, with an 82% screen-to-body ratio, is absolutely the best display on any iPhone. Thanks to Samsung for making this display and also Apple to improve it. I said the best display on any iPhone, but according to DisplayMate, it has the best display currently available on any smartphone. They claim iPhone X display has the highest absolute color accuracy and highest full screen brightness for all of the smartphones with 634 nits. I know Note 8 display was claimed to be 1240 nits. But these guys at DisplayMate believe Note 8 can produce 1240 nits for only small portions of the screen area. For full screen brightness, Note 8 can produce up to 560 nits with automatic brightness, compared to iPhone X full screen at 634 nits. Also, according to their tests, iPhone X has the highest full screen contrast rating in ambient light, highest contrast ratio, lowest screen reflectance, and smallest brightness variation with viewing angle. I put the link to this article in the comment section of this video, so you can check it if you like to. iPhone X comes with a notch on top of the screen, which lots of people are talking about it. In my opinion, it's not very annoying. Don't get me wrong, I don't say I like it, and definitely preferred it was not there. But at the end of the day, Apple had to put the earpiece and all those small sensors and cameras, which they call it True Depth Camera System, somewhere. Although the screen size on iPhone X is larger than the Plus sizes of iPhone, including 6 Plus, 6S Plus, 7 Plus, and 8 Plus, but unfortunately it doesn't support landscape mode in home screen and also in settings. Also in apps like Mail and Notes, when you have a Plus size iPhone, the screen will be divided in two parts. The left side will be a list of your notes or your emails, and the right side will be the body of your email or your notes. But this is not possible in iPhone X, which is unfortunate. And I hope Apple will add this feature in their new iOS updates. Since it is OLED, the colors are awesome. The blacks are pitch black, and overall the colors are more natural and beautiful than the other iPhones. iPhone X has a 12 megapixel dual camera system, just like iPhone 8 Plus. The wide-angle lens in both phones are the same, f1.8 aperture. But the telephoto camera in iPhone X is f2.4 aperture in comparison with f2.8 aperture in 8 Plus. So it performs slightly better in low light. Both of the lenses come with optical image stabilizer and also support portrait mode, which is adding beautiful blurry backgrounds to your pictures and make it more artistic. For the first time, you can do it in both back and front face cameras. But sometimes it gets confused and the result is not as expected. Also, Apple has added a new feature called portrait lighting, but it's still in beta version and needs improvement. You can shoot 4K videos with iPhone X up to 60 frames per second, and also Full HD 1080p up to 240 frames per second, which is awesome for slow motion videos. There are not many smartphones or even professional cameras that can support these frame rates. front face camera has a 7 megapixel f2.2 aperture lens that can shoot Full HD 1080p videos. And as I mentioned earlier, for the first time you can take portrait photos with the front face camera as well. From camera point of view, if we cannot say iPhone X has the best camera on any smartphone, but definitely we can say it's amongst the first 3 smartphones available in the market. Also, as I mentioned earlier, there are a bunch of sensors and cameras on the front face of the phone that they call it True Depth camera system, which can recognize your face for Face ID and also in applications like Animoji for iMessage, or even a better performance in apps like Snapchat. This phone is equipped with A11 Bionic chip, the same chip that empowers iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. So from performance point of view, this phone is exactly the same as those two phones. A11 Bionic is a 6-core 64-bit CPU made by Apple, with 2 high-performance cores and 4 high-efficiency cores. It is much faster and more powerful than any smartphone at the moment. In my comparison video between iPhone 8 Plus and Samsung Galaxy Note 8, link in the description, I compared the benchmark results of those two phones and showed that iPhone 8 Plus has a higher performance in both single and multi-core. So those results are applicable for iPhone X as well. Also, I had compared iPhone X with iPhone 7, that you can see the results. Apple claimed in their keynotes that iPhone X has 2 hours more battery life in comparison with iPhone 7. But as a user that upgraded from iPhone 7 to iPhone X, I experienced even a bigger improvement. With my typical usage with iPhone 7, I had to charge my phone at least once during the day and once at night time. But with the same usage on my new phone, I don't need to charge it during the day. And when I want to sleep at night, I still have between 10 and 15% battery. So a big thumbs up to iPhone X battery life. Also, as you know, iPhone X can now support wireless charging, but it doesn't support fast charging over wireless. Even for fast charging with cable, you need to pay extra and buy fast charger, and it is not included in the box, which is unfortunate. Apple has decided to replace Touch ID with Face ID in iPhone X. This feature works fine and is much better than iris scanner and face detection in Samsung products. During the few days that I have used iPhone X, the Face ID worked in 99% of times for me. But it has its own limitations. For example, it doesn't work when you hold the phone vertically. There are already so many discussions on YouTube and other social networks about Face ID failures, and Face ID hacks. But in my mind, it's a cool feature that works fine and will get improved by time. Removing the home button made Apple to introduce some new gestures in order to replace the things that you used to do with your home button. For example, to close an application, you need to swipe up from the bottom of the screen. Also, to do multitasking, you need to swipe up from bottom and hold for a second, and then you can switch between applications. The other way is to just swipe right or left between applications from the bottom of the screen. To open Control Center, you need to swipe down from top right corner of the screen. It takes a few days to get used to these new gestures, but when you get familiar to them, they're not that hard. iPhone X is definitely the best iPhone Apple has ever made. better design, better performance, better screen, better camera, and in every aspect it is much better than rest of the iPhone family. So it's a huge step forward and has some futuristic features which other companies are going to copy in coming years. But is it worth the price? Well, you know that Apple products are always overpriced. But it's not only Apple anymore. At the moment, Samsung and Google are competing with Apple to increase their prices. For example, Samsung Galaxy Note 8 is in the same price range of iPhone 10, and Google Pixel 2 is slightly cheaper. But yes, if you want to compare them with, for example, OnePlus 5, which costs $500, or even Essential Phone, which recently cut the price from $700 to $500, these three phones cost almost twice more, but they don't perform twice better. So we can say, yes, they are overpriced. If you remember in my iPhone 8 Plus review, I mentioned that upgrading to iPhone 8 Plus is not the best idea, and it's worth it to wait for the iPhone 10 and pay that $200 price difference. It's simply much better than iPhone 8 Plus. Now that I upgraded from iPhone 7 to iPhone 10, I still believe the same. And it was a huge upgrade for me, and I'm really happy with it. To be honest, I don't understand why Apple introduced these three phones at the same time. It just doesn't make sense. At least the price gap between these three phones must be more, so that people have some motivation to buy those two phones. What do you think? I love to know your ideas about iPhone 10. So please write your ideas and ask any question that you have about iPhone 10 in comment section below. Also, please let me know what phones do you like me to compare with iPhone 10 for the future videos. Okay guys, that's it for me. I hope you find this video useful. Please let me know if you like this video by hitting that like button below. Also, please subscribe if you aren't already. There are so many tech reviews and vlogs that are coming every week, and you don't want to miss them. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bedroot.